Charles Jay is a cancer survivor, designer. It's not really much more to that. Uh, I try to stay true to who I am and create what my vision of something is. The fashion industry now, with COVID, is transforming before our eyes. You see designers like Hanifa, who did the first virtual fashion show, and seeing where the industry is going, where seasons aren't going to become a thing anymore. You're not going to have really spring, summer, fall, winter. The consumer's attention span is a lot faster now. So what brands, where I see it going is, brands are probably going to end up jumping into like 6 to 8 capsule collections a year. And what those capsules are going to be like, whether it's once a month or once every 2 months, they'll have like a full collection that they release for their fall, like whatever it is. But they're going to have smaller collections in between to maintain the momentum for the brand. Because if you release something next week, like if I release something next week and I don't release anything for another 3 or 4 months, I can lose a lot of my consumer because their attention span is so fast now. And it's kind of scary because the idea of fast fashion, of what we were consuming over the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years of the H&Ms and the Fashion Novas and the Pretty Little Things, I think the structure of fashion is going to start changing more towards the eco model, where brands are going to have to start using an MTO model, where that's made to order, where a consumer places an order online, the order online gets sent to the factory makes the garment and ships it out to the customer within 2 weeks. Like, that's where fashion is going to be in the next 4 to 5 years. Because economically, as far as like eco-friendly, the goal is to minimize waste. That's why a lot of people are using digital mock-ups now for their samples and things like that. But the fashion industry is changing so much, and it's going to start going into more of a digital age, where fashion is not just going to be about what humans are wearing. Fashion is going to be about, okay, what's going on in a Fortnite? What's going on in an NBA 2K? What are the players wearing? And then on the flip side, where does customization come in for the consumer? Because that's ultimately what the goal is and where fashion is going. The goal is to be able to give consumers a base model and allow them to customize it to how they see it fit. Whether that's they want a specific type of color, a different type of fabric, or anything like that. That's really where fashion is going to go. And it's going to move more towards a brand exclusivity model, to where brands are not going to be producing as much as they used to, and things are not going to be in bulk. So you're going to have to jump on things when they get released and buy them. If not, you're not going to be able to get them. I'm not going to tell anyone what they should do. I can only live off of my own experiences. Like, I can't tell you not to go to design school because they're going to brainwash you. Like, I can't do that because I didn't go to design school. I can only speak on my experiences. But from what I've seen, and with going to college, and I went to school for marketing, but what school can do, if you aren't strong enough mentally, it can train your mind to think a certain way, and to think this is the right way to do things. When in history, the things that are unconventional are the things that are going to shift the culture. The things that are unconventional and outside your comfort zone are what are going to transform you into this person that you're trying to be. Design school, there's people who have gone to Parsons and all these design schools, and they just think like everyone else. And then there's people who don't go to design school and just live outside their comfort zone and do things because they weren't taught how to do anything. If I would have went to design school, would I understand what technical design is, how to develop my tech packs, and just how to construct a garment the correct way? Yes. Would that be a stronger foundation for me? Yes. But by me just diving in and starting my brand from scratch and not knowing anything, I was able to learn throughout the process how things can be effective for me in my process, and not, excuse me, and not separate or like try to duplicate someone else's process to make it work for me. Because everyone is different, everyone learns differently. I'm not a person who I can read a book and then I'll completely understand how to do something. I'm a visual person. So by me being hands-on and watching a YouTube video, watching another designer work or anything like that, those are things that I'm able to visually just take a look at and see and be like, okay, this is how you do this. And then I kind of take my own version of it and I start to construct my garments. So I wouldn't say that design school is a bad thing, but also you have to learn to be your own individual too, and learn how you want to operate, not necessarily how the industry does. Because if you focus too much on what the industry is doing, you're eventually going to just start doing everything that they're doing. Whether that's looking at your Pantone color report and saying, oh, these are the 7 or 8 colors that are going to be trending for this season. These are the only colors I'm going to use for my product. But once you do that, yes, are you falling into the realm of what fashion is, right? What the idea of fashion is? Yeah. But maybe if you decide to use a color that's not on that palette, it could be the color that changes your life. Instead of using like a burnt orange, maybe use like a bright orange in the fall. And that could be the difference between a consumer falling in love with your brand and, them looking at your brand like it's everyone else. So I just think taking the time to just learn your process is 10 times better than focusing on learning someone else. Being an independent designer is only difficult because you don't have the backing of a major company. So like I don't have a Nike or LVMH, backing my company. So everything that we build is from the ground up, every single aspect of it, whether that's handling the marketing, our production, our tech packs, every single process is done in-house. Like I don't outsource anything. We handle everything. And not having the financial backing to be able to put things exactly how you want them to be. As an independent designer, you've got to figure out where your wiggle room is. For me, I will never wiggle any type of money differentiation in production. I'm going to make sure that the product is produced at the highest level always. It does not matter the cost. That's a given. Now, as an independent designer, you have to think, how do I distribute the rest of the budget to make things hit a certain level? And as an independent designer, a lot of times we don't have the money to go shoot a wow commercial or have a $1 million photo shoot that's on the Vogue type level. So it's a matter of now you have to utilize a barter system to where how can I add value, whether that's product, a platform, how can we add value to each other so that we can come collectively together and make something magical. And we've done a pretty good job of that so far with the brand. But I don't think being an independent designer, I feel like with the realm of where fashion is now, we have the advantage because we can switch and maneuver on a day-to-day basis versus a $1 million company who has to go through all these different levels of, authority to make changes within the business. If I wake up tomorrow and say, I want to restructure my entire business, I can do that. So I think as an independent designer and an independent brand, you have to use that to your advantage. The fact that you can have direct communication with your customer and it's not streamlined between 5 to 7 people or 100 people, that's an advantage. So I think being a small business now is more of an advantage because you can maneuver and adjust quicker versus having already a multi-million-dollar business where you have to change the entire infrastructure. So I think that's really what, for me, I think being a small brand is definitely the advantage. Building the brand is honestly the most difficult part. It's the most time consuming. I just had a vision from the beginning. And when you're in the fashion industry, there's so much pressure to try to live up to an expectation. And whether that's, trying to land a cover in Vogue or trying to get a feature in a magazine, they want you to operate a certain way, like a robot. Like just when we used to go to school and we used to have to sit down and learn, the fashion industry kind of wants you to do the same thing. They want you to go a certain route first before you can be recognized to the level that, I mean, everybody who becomes a designer wants to be recognized as. But for me, I don't even pay attention to that. I didn't start designing for the accolades, for the recognition. I designed to really just show what my version of something is. I've studied other designers from way back when. And my goal has always been to take something from all of the people who did all of these amazing things and turn it into my own. And I think that's what's really been able to help me build the brand and build the aesthetic. I go back to the playroom in Children's Hospital all the time, mentally. Like, that's where my life changed forever. That's where I defeated cancer, in that room. So for me to take that experience, you know, being around all the different colors and the color blocks and other kids and just realizing how fun things should be, I really just learned to take the seriousness out of the fashion industry. Because everybody has, you know, like I was saying, those expectations, and they want you to be serious 100% of the time, and they want you to do everything the way that they want you to do it. But for me, not going to, you know, a fashion school, everything that I do is super untraditional. There's no guidelines for me. There's no restrictions. If I want to choose a specific type of fabric to use with another type of fabric that isn't traditional, it's not embedded in my mind that I'm not able to do that. It's more so I have a vision and I bring it together. There's no restrictions for me because I don't have a foundation that I was built on in the fashion industry that makes me operate a certain way. And if you look at designers like Ralph Lauren or anyone of that nature, nobody who has hit those pinnacles has really ever been to a fashion school. It's been more so about them just doing it their way and how they see it. And that's really what art is about. It's about perspective. It's about you controlling the narrative. And my goal from day one has always been to control my own narrative. I don't expect everyone to love what I do. That would be me putting out an unrealistic expectation in the universe. If I put something out, I can't expect, if there's 100 people in a room, I can't expect 100 people to buy it. That's just not realistic. But for the people who do buy into it, the goal is to inspire them first with the story and inspire them with the quality of the clothing and just the elevation of everything that goes behind the brand. Whether that's choosing the right photographer like a Rue Castro to be able to bring these pictures to life. Behind the scenes and videographer like, you know, New Age. And really just being able to bring things and tie people into the brand so they love it as much as you do. And that's just been the vital part of building a brand. And it's something that takes time. At times, you know, passion is it's the only fuel that you have. There's days where, you know, I got to spend 7 or 8 hours doing a tech pack and sizing a garment because I want to make sure that it's perfect. And if you were to translate those hours into a regular job, once the clock hits 5, you're ready to go. Your manager's, hey, can you stay a couple extra minutes? No, like, I got to go. So with something you're passionate about, you're willing to put the time in continuously until you begin to see what can come of that. There's days where I'll put 10 hours in and I won't see the fruits of that labor until 5 months later. Passion is the only thing that you have at that point, because if you don't have that, are you really going to be willing to wait those 3, 4, or 5 months to see the fruits of your labor for a product? And I think with just understanding the long game of everything, you don't get caught up in the short term. Like, I know I got to put in 10 hours right now and to get this tech pack finished, but I'm not going to see those 10 hours come to life for another 4 or 5 months. Do I question myself mentally sometimes? Who doesn't? If I didn't question myself mentally, that means I was staying constricted inside of this box that people try to label you in. And the way that I think is constantly thinking outside of the box. And my passion allows me to do that. I don't want to be just seen as like a fashion designer, that just makes clothes. I see European designers and Caucasian designers test the waters with all of these different products. But the fact that I'm a black designer, does that mean that I can't do that as well? No. But I feel like us as a culture, we're so focused on being perfect because they'll pick us apart if we're not. The moment that we make one mistake, we're done. That's what the perception is. As a black designer, if you come in and you make a mistake, you're not ever going to be what you could have been. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people are afraid to step outside of their comfort zone. Because if I consistently deliver an amazing product, but there's no elevation, eventually I'm going to die out. I can keep striking at the chord, but if I'm not elevating and testing the waters, I'm going to stay inside of this box, and they're going to label me as this type of person. Since day one, you can't label me as anything. You can't just say he's a fashion designer. You can't just say no, I'm going to make accessories. I'm going to design sneakers. I'm going to make clothes. I'm going to design home goods. I'm going to design my own bike. Like, those are things that I'm constantly thinking about because you can't put me in a box, and I'm never going to allow anyone to. And that's what the pressure of the fashion industry is going to do. It's going to try to take your passion away. The fashion industry is going to say, no, you're not good enough. You didn't go to this school. You didn't walk at this fashion week. You're not good enough. And I don't give a fuck about what the fashion industry has to say. And I think that's the reason why I've been able to, I haven't done anything revolutionary, right? I didn't create a new wheel. I didn't do anything different than a Ralph Lauren or anyone else. I'm not even close to the level that they are. But by me having enough foresight and enough passion behind me, I know that I can get there. I've seen what I've been able to build in only 5 years. People say, oh, you got to put your 10,000 hours in. I put my 10,000 hours in already. Am I seeing the fruits of my labor yet? Not 100%. Might I have to put in another 10,000 hours? Of course. And I'm okay with that because I love my process. My passion is what drives me. My story is what drives me. Nobody can do what I do because they don't have my story. And once I understood that, my focus narrowed. I have a very narrow tunnel focus. I don't see what's going on to the left. I don't see what's going on to the right. Do I have friends that do the same things that I do? Yeah, of course. But do I look to the left or to the right for my competition, quote unquote? No, I'm looking at the leaders of the industry. Not taking anything away from the people who are close to me, but I'm not striving to be there. I'm striving to be at the highest level possible. And that's the reason why I put so much effort into my product, because if I'm trying to do something to that capacity, every aspect of my business needs to be at that capacity. I need to work with the best photographers. I need to work with the best videographers. And I need to develop the best product that I know that I can. Can I take shortcuts in production? Can I use a lower quality product and save $1 or $2 per unit? Of course. That's what the major fashion houses do after they blow up. You'll see brands start off, their quality is phenomenal. 10 years down the line, the quality is completely different. I bought shirts from Ralph Lauren, $180 a pop. Is the quality the same that it was 10, 15 years ago? Hell no. Because the easiest way to cut costs is in your production. And that just shows that there's a disconnected passion. The same things aren't driving you anymore. How you make your decisions are based off of your values. Can your values change over time? Of course. If I value money, I'm going to make decisions that embody money, and how I can make more of it. If my values are about impact and legacy, those are things that are going to make my decisions calculated. Can I use a lesser quality product? Yes. But if I use a higher quality product, will I have a higher impact on my customer when they get it? Those are the type of questions that I'm constantly asking myself. I don't give a fuck about making $1 million. Because at the end of the day, if I can impact 1 million people, that currency is so much higher. And that's what the goal has been from day one. When you shop URBANE, I'm not going to say it's just a lifestyle, because I don't want to portray something that it's not. URBANE gives you the ability to create your own narrative with the brand. You're buying into individuality. You're buying into quality. You're buying into the story behind the brand. You're buying into impact. You're buying into legacy. You're buying into inspiration. When someone wears the garment, I want them to feel elevated. And that's really what everything that URBANE stands for. Like, the definition is the reflection of elegance or sophistication through expression. And with the expression being, clothing or fashion, when you wear the garment, you just feel different. And I'm not going to say that, because that's very cliche, but it's very true. Like, every time I wear my clothes, I know that I feel empowered, because I know that my individuality is speaking out. Like, you're buying literally a part of me with the clothes. It's not just, I'm trying to sell you a dream. Like, I'm not trying to sell you, this is Rolls Royces, Rolexes, VVS diamond chains. Like, this is not that. I'm not that type of person. That's not what my mission has ever been. This is my twist of what that would be. My digital watch is my Rolex. My Cuban link is how I would perceive it as. So you're really just buying into the individuality of you, understanding that you can be whoever you want to be and not have to worry about what someone else is going to say about it. People told me all the time, your clothes are loud, it's not really for me. That's fine. My brand is not for everybody. It's not to be consumed by everybody. And I'm not saying that there's some type of like elitism with shopping my brand. There's not. I'm not a Burberry or a Gucci. That's not the aesthetic that I'm trying to put off. The aesthetic for the brand is, I want you to be the best version of you. And if you fit into the brand, I don't want you to fit into the brand. And I think this is something that is changing in the world of fashion. I want the brand to fit into you. What does it mean to you? What is your perception, or what is your perspective on it? Do you purchase it because you love the clothes? Do you purchase it because you love the story? Do you like the clothes just because they look like, some of the garments look cool? It's up to you to determine that. I'm not going to push a certain lifestyle onto you for you to be consumed in something that's not even reality. My goal now is to push the reality of, I want you to be the best version of you in my clothes. How you style it, how you put it together, the shoes that you wear, the sock choice that you have, whether it's a different color, the watch design, the watch colorway that you like to wear with this specific shirt. I want to be able to give you those options. And that's kind of really why the logo is the way that it is, because it gives you the versatility to be able to throw it on with, a bunch of different things. You can wear those socks with any color shoes you want. Doesn't matter what color. They'll look good with it. But it's just speaking onto who you are. Like, with the era of social media now, everything is so perception based. Everybody wants to look like they're making $1 million. Everyone wants to make it look like they're doing this or doing that. If that's how I felt about my brand, I would have just went and got a diamond out Cuban link. But instead of doing that, I stayed true to exactly who I am. And I'll never let anything in the industry tell me different. If the industry doesn't like what I do, fuck the industry. I create my own industry. That's just been my mindset from day one. And to see things, halfway starting to come to life, halfway starting to get some of that recognition that we feel for, I've learned to just celebrate the win in the moment. Like, if an artist wears my clothes or I get a feature in a magazine, I'm gonna celebrate the moment. But those aren't the things that define me. The things that define me are the customers who are buying my product, the people who are inspired by the story of the brand, inspired to purchase the clothes and wear them like it's a part of them. That's always been the number one goal. Number one currency is inspiration. I wouldn't even say it's just a slogan for this fall. It's more going to be like a mantra for the brand moving forward. It just speaks on exactly everything the brand stands for. It stands for individuality, creating your own narrative, not allowing other people to create it for you. Because life in general is all about making it exactly what you want it to be. It's not about listening to them or listening to the industry or listening to, your manager or this person or that person and trying to make them happy. So many people live their life trying to make everyone around them happy that in the end, they are never truly happy within themselves. The goal in life is to make things exactly the way that you want them to be. If you want to be a music artist, if you want to quit your job and be a painter, do the things that are going to make you happy at the end of the day. Because if you don't do it today, there's no guarantee that you have anything to do for tomorrow. I could wake up, I might not wake up tomorrow. If I wasn't living my dream right now, and the dream doesn't include what you physically have. The dream is the currency of inspiration and happiness. That's the only currency that I live by right now. I'm gonna live in the moment. I'm not gonna try to make things or people around me happy by what I'm doing. I'm gonna make myself happy first. And if somebody sees the brand and they're like, oh, this is whack, that's cool. It's whatever you want it to be. It's your perspective. You get to make the decision on what something is. If something bad happens in your life, you get to determine how it affects you. Is it going to be a positive outcome or is it going to be a negative outcome? Are you going to take the things that you can from that experience and apply it and move forward? Or are you going to stay stagnant where you are? Whatever you want it to be it's just life. It's not a rocket science formula that I decided to put on a shirt and wanted you to figure it out. It's whatever you want it to be. It's you waking up and pursuing everything that you want to pursue unapologetically. I don't owe anyone anything, especially for the brand. If you don't shop the brand because it's a certain way, that's fine. It's up to you to really understand that life, art, everything is based on perception. My perception of something might not be the same as someone else's. It doesn't make me right or make me wrong. It just means that I have a different understanding of what the purpose of that is. And when people see the clothes or see my brand, that's the reason why I don't plaster URBANE all over it. The last thing I want you to do is to say, that's an URBANE shirt because it says URBANE on it. I want you to see the color blocks on the shirt, whether it's a small logo or a bigger logo of it. And I want you to be like, wow, that's interesting. What does it mean to me? How can I internalize what I see and make it my own? Once you're able to do that, you begin to create your perception of something. And that's really what the goal for the saying was, is just to help promote individuality, to help promote perception, and stop trying to live up to these standards of the industry or other people. You make these things exactly what you want them to be. If you think it's going to be a big deal or you want to make it a big deal, it's going to be a big deal. If it's not a big deal, then that's how you're going to approach it. But not for everybody was the coming out party for me. It was me telling everyone that I understand that everybody's not going to love what I do. That's me being 100% confident in my process in my designs, in my product, and knowing that for every 2 people that love my product, it might be 1 person that hates it. And for those 3 people, whether they love it or not, the brand to them is whatever they want it to be. If it's high fashion, perfect. That's the category that you put it in. If it's streetwear, perfect. That's the category that you decide to put it in. I'm not going to argue with you about trying to convince you that it's something that you don't think it is. Because over time, perception can change. At first, you might not like the brand, but then 2 years later, you might see something like, hey, this is more of my style. I like this. This is who I am. That's where the evolution of brand comes in. Consumers aren't going to buy in from the gate. If everybody bought in from the gate, everybody would have $1 million. But it's the fact that I'm willing to understand that I don't expect you to buy in. And if you do end up buying into the brand at any time, I want you to make the brand everything that you want it to be for you. And that's the life or the lifestyle that I want to portray for the brand. You see something and you love it, make it your own. That's been my motto since day one. I've been inspired by Jeremy Scott, Ralph Lauren. I've taken what they've done and seen how they've stayed in their realm of things and didn't try to change their scope to cater to whoever is around. Did people hate Jeremy Scott for a while? Yeah. Did they love him for another 2 years and then hate him again? Yeah. That's fine. I'm okay with being that guy. I'm okay with creating something that somebody might not traditionally do, whether it's a fabric choice or a colorway, or that's fine. It's whatever you want it to be. And just seeing how people can be impacted by you staying true to yourself is the biggest thing that I want people to take away from this entire saying. Like, whatever you want it to be is going to be a thing that it's not going anywhere. It's going to be around. If you like it, cool. If you don't, you don't. It's not for everybody, right?